It seems strange, maybe, to do a whole podcast episode about a cat. I know that. I thought about it, and then I thought, no. You know how I do things here, though, so we're doing this.
You're listening to Unbound Off Script. Today, Beth Curry is stepping away from the noise to talk about the things that carry weight. Whether it's a personal reflection or a response to the heavy things you've shared with her, this is a space for the raw and the real.
Welcome back to Unbound Off Script. I'm Beth. I needed distraction today. I needed to talk, get things out. So I got some time, and here I am. I don't normally date my episodes, but it is Wednesday, April 22nd. I don't know if this will go live today or another day. I just don't know. I don't know a lot right now. Normally I do written things like this and just throw it out there, but she was a bigger thing than just that, I think. And I have a different platform now. I feel kind of sorry for you guys right now, if you're even listening, but I thought maybe talking might feel better. I want to be upfront about something before I get into it. Sometimes I record filler episodes, standalone off-script content that gets dropped into the schedule when things are lean or when I'm traveling or when the main show maybe needs a little breathing room. I actually just recorded an episode like that for that reason about everything I know about latex. Yep, that's a real episode that's coming. And in it, I did a segment about my cats. And I talked about Trixie. And Trixie died last night. So here we are. I'm not going to pretend I'm okay. I'm not going to wrap this in a pretty little bow. What I'm going to do is talk about it honestly, because that's all I know how to do. And because if you've ever loved an animal, or if you've ever had to make a decision you never wanted to make, or if you're just deep in a season of relentless loss and you're starting to wonder when the fuck it ends, then this episode is for you as much as it is for me. Bear with me, please. Trixie, she came to us at the end of April 2011. She was a baby, and she was on death row. That's not hyperbole. She was at a shelter marked for euthanasia because the assumption was that her blindness would make her life and someone else's life too hard, right? That she would be a burden, that the kindest thing to do was not give her a chance at all. And they were so damn wrong. I have never in my entire life had a cat as happy as Trixie was. She was the purriest and the most playful, the friendliest to absolutely everyone who walked through our door. She loved strangers. She loved house guests. She loved other cats, even when they didn't love her back. She wore little outfits and bandanas and her ducky backpack. And she went for walks in the garden and sat at the screen door and pretended to watch backyard birds like it was the best show on television. She rode in a stroller at the beach. She smelled flowers. Like she lived, right? She lived. It's almost like she knew from the very beginning that, I don't know, they decided that she wasn't worth it. And she spent 15 years proving them wrong. If you're someone who's ever kind of scrolled past the shelter listings, like you're just looking for a kitten or an easy cat or something, and you've stopped at the one with the note that says special needs or senior or requires extra care, I want you to think about Trixie, because the life she lived was not a burden. It was a gift to me and my family, to her, to all of us. Don't shop, adopt, okay? And if you have it in you, consider the ones that everyone else skips, because they are special and they humble you. And they show you a love that's different. She came to us the same spring as her sister Micah, who arrived a couple of weeks before her. Micah became her seeing eye kitty of sorts. as Trixie lost her hearing too, because why not? Let's pile it on, right? She often didn't know when treats were happening, but she could sense when Micah was running toward me in the kitchen, and she'd follow. Sometimes she didn't get there in time, but most of the time she did. She always tried. She actually was always underfoot with me. Every time I got up, she would get up from wherever she was and just hang out with me by my feet. She usually wanted food. We also had Ty. He was our first foster fail, and Hazel, she was our second. Ty bullied Trixie relentlessly, so she tended to avoid him. When he passed suddenly in June of 2023, something shifted. It's kind of like Trixie took her power back or something, you know? All the girls found just a kind of peace in the house that they hadn't before. Over the years, we fostered dozens of cats, and Trixie took every single one of them under her wing. Every scared and uncertain fresh off the street foster kitty who came through our door got met by this blind, deaf, bossy, gigantic, completely unbothered calico who acted like she'd been expecting them. She earned the nickname Mama T because that's what she was. First episode with her happened back in the summer of 2022, and we were pretty sure we were going to lose her then. She started falling when she walked. It was pretty sudden. It was abrupt. Her head was twisted to the side. She looked like she was drunk. I thought she had a stroke, maybe. She couldn't eat. I took her to a couple of different vets. I was scared, and eventually we landed on a diagnosis of vestibular disease. There was a suspicion that a polyp might be involved, but at her age, we kind of made that personal decision not to pursue invasive testing. That was our choice. Every family makes their own. But she rallied. She always rallied. She learned to use the stairs again, and she figured out how to live with her disease, head tilt and all. And she just kept going. She would hold her water dish with her left paw, I guess, to stabilize herself while she was drinking. She had all these little ways to adapt to what she was going through. And we started calling her Twisted Sister and Twisty and Schwisty. She didn't care. She responded to everything until she couldn't hear us. But then came the losses, in June 2023, as I said, Ty died suddenly. In September 2023, my dad died suddenly. He had adopted a cat about 12 weeks before he died. He named her Angel. He knew I loved black cats. When I was a kid, I had the best black kitty cat I ever had. His name was Jake. Had Jake through a lot of tough times in my life. If you listen to my podcast, I had Jake through season 3. He also knew, though he didn't tell us, that he was dying. And I think he chose her for me because he knew we would take her. When he was gone and my mom had to move into long-term care, she has dementia, and that is its own slow daily goodbye that I'm still living. Angel came to us and we had 4 girls again. At the end of March 2024, my mother-in-law died. And then in December 2024, Trixie got really sick. One night we took her to the emergency vet. It was right before Christmas. The doctor came out and said it was likely IBD, but probably lymphoma. He gave us the option of oncology or compassionate euthanasia, or maybe 6 weeks. We took the latter because we just wanted to get through Christmas. So we chose to treat her with Pred temporarily just to see, because they use that for IBD and sometimes for lymphoma. And she bounced back in 3 days. She was better than she'd been in years. In May of 2025, Hazel got sick and we let her go at home. In early May, the vet came to us. All the girls got their chance to say goodbye. In November 2025, Trixie was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. New medication. First we tried pills. She got wise to that immediately. Her stubborn, spicy self, so we switched her to ear meds, just topical that I applied twice a day. 5 months of blood work trying to get her regulated, and then 2026 came, and I thought, this is it. This is the year. We get a fucking break. No death. I'm so tired. My heart's broken. It's also somehow hardened, both at the same time, and I just needed 1 year where nobody died. This past Monday morning, April 20th, she was unresponsive. I'm used to waking up in the morning and having her greet me loudly in the kitchen, all excited for her medications and her special food. But she wasn't there, and I found her in her little cubby, just really asleep. I got her to the vet right away that morning. Lots of blood work, lots of up in the air speculation. When the doctor walked in, she actually threw up pink stuff, and I knew. You just know, you know. They gave her a couple of different medications to help her, and they sent us home. And her breathing changed in the afternoon, so I took her back for x-rays. Heart looked okay, lungs looked okay, really, really angry gut, though. So still possible it was a flare, still possible the meds would work. I held on to that. And that night, around 1 a.m. on Tuesday, she rallied for me. She talked to me. She'd always been vocal, this one, and she even ate a little bit for me. She went back to drinking on her own as well before I went to bed on Monday night. And I thought, there she is. There's my girl. Through most of yesterday, she rested. I told myself she needed it. Her body was doing the work. Just deep rest. I convinced myself that this was how healing looked sometimes. And later in the afternoon, I gave her a gentle cleaning and I changed her bedding, and she walked out into the hall outside of the bathroom and she just lay down on the cool floor, and I gave her some space. And when I came back, she was bleeding from her bum excessively, and I knew, the way you know things in your gut that your brain hasn't fully caught up to yet, that this was not turning around. And what felt like fate, the vet called at that exact moment to say she was leaving for the day and wanted to just check in, and I told her what I'd just found. And she gave me 2 choices. I could take Trixie to the emergency vet, or she would stay late. I was alone. I didn't have anyone to call, nobody to talk to, and no time to think, and I chose to ask her to stay. And then it was fast. It was so fast. Even at the end, she tried to rally. She stood up on the table. She wanted to explore. That was Trixie. Right up until the very end, she was going to be Trixie. The decision. I want to talk about this because it's one of the most psychologically brutal things a person can do, and we don't talk about it enough, I don't think. I don't know why. Almost a year to the date before Trixie, I made this decision for the first time in my life for Hazel. I had never in my entire life made it before that. I've owned cats my whole life. So that should tell you something. Not once. Every animal I'd loved in the 49 years before that had either died naturally, or the decision had been made by someone else or by circumstance, not by me. There's a specific kind of pain that comes with being the one who decides, and if you've done this, you know this. It doesn't matter how clearly you know it's the right thing to do. It doesn't matter that every rational part of you understands you are ending suffering, that you are the last act of love you can give. The moment it's over, your brain goes to work on you. The second guessing starts immediately. Should I have waited? Should I have tried the other vet? Should I have done something else? Was she actually in pain? Was I reading it wrong? Did she know what was happening? Could she have turned around? Did she feel abandoned? With T, her being blind and deaf, I don't know, did she know what was happening? Did she know I was there? Could she hear me? Could she hear what I was telling her, that she was going to feel better soon and she was going to see again and everything was going to be okay? This is decisional grief. It's a specific mourning that comes not just from the loss, but from the weight of having been the one to choose it. And it lives in a different part of you than regular grief does. Regular grief is about missing someone. Decisional grief is about questioning yourself, sometimes for years, sometimes forever. I think if there's anyone listening who needs to hear it, who's been here or who will be here, the fact that it was hard does not mean it was wrong. The fact that you second guess does not mean that you made a mistake. In fact, the opposite is usually true. People who make this decision carelessly don't spend 3 days replaying it. You're in agony because you loved her, and the agony is the love. I also want to talk about staying, because this was talked about in the moment last night. I stayed with Trixie. We did. We were all there. We held her, and I watched, and I made sure she was not alone, and I watched her eyes until all of her magic was gone. And I hated myself. I still hate myself a little, because it wasn't the way I'd pictured it. Hazel got to go at home. She was surrounded by her sisters and in her space with her smells and everything familiar around her. But Trixie died on a table in a bright white room on a red velvet blanket. Her sisters didn't get to say goodbye, and she didn't get to see them. And I have to live with that. I don't know if I'll make peace with it. Maybe I will. Maybe there's a version of the story where I get to that peace. I hope so. But what I know for sure, staying matters. If you can stay with your pet through euthanasia, please stay. I know the research is consistent on this. Animals in their final moments are calmer, and their cortisol levels are lower when a familiar person is present. Your smell and your voice, your hands on their body, that is medicine. That's the last thing they know. Don't let fear or your own distress take that from them. And I understand the fear. I understand that some people genuinely cannot do it. I'm not judging you if you couldn't or you can't, but the reason you haven't is because you don't know what it looks like. Or because you're afraid it will be traumatic or violent, and I want to tell you that it wasn't. It was quiet, and it was fast. She went to sleep with her chin in my hand. This is why I wanted it filmed. This is why I might be sharing it. If this is a video episode, you'll be seeing video. I'll warn you first. I don't know. I think if I had seen it before, if someone had shown me before Hazel what it actually looked like, I might not have struggled so hard going in. I might have been less afraid, and maybe that fear would have been one less weight to carry. I don't know. I want to talk about grief for a minute. Not the kind and stupid sympathy greeting cards. No, she's in a better place. Shit, though I'll get to that. No, at least she had a good life. Not any of the things people say because they don't know what else to do with someone else's pain. Anyone who said that to me, please don't feel bad. I'm not judging you. It is what it is. It's totally fine, and I do appreciate it. But real grief, the kind that kind of sits on your chest in the morning before you're fully awake and hits you before you even remember why. I woke up this morning and the sunshine came in right where Trixie slept, in her little tent, in her spot, empty. And for 20 minutes, I had nothing to do. For 2 years, every morning had the same shape: medication, food, loveys, the whole routine that builds up around a sick animal that you don't even realize has become the scaffolding of your day until it's gone. And then the scaffolding is gone, and you're just standing there in the stupid sunshine with nothing to do and a heart full of something that doesn't have a name yet. That's grief, right? The absence that takes the same shape as the presence did. Psychologically, what happens in prolonged loss is something called cumulative grief, and I'm a textbook case. When losses stack, and mine have stacked hard since 2023, the nervous system doesn't get the chance to fully process one before the next one arrives. So the grief doesn't fully go away. It kind of goes underground and it compresses. And the result is that you just start to feel things that aren't just sadness. It's numbness and it's hypervigilance and, I don't know, like an emotional exhaustion that is not fixed by sleep. And a growing terror that you have used up your capacity, and the next loss will be the one that finally breaks you. I know that feeling, and I'm sitting inside it right now. But what I also know is that it hasn't broken me yet. I keep saying I'm surprised it hasn't, but maybe that's not the right frame. I don't know. Maybe that's not that I'm somehow tough enough not to break. Maybe it's that grief, even when it's crushing, is also evidence of something. I don't know. Like a receipt for love or something. I don't know. Like, that's cheesy. It's so silly sounding, I think. I don't know. You don't grieve things you didn't love, right? You don't sit in an empty sunny spot and cry over something that didn't matter. She mattered. They all mattered. And the fact that my heart is broken again, still, always, is just proof that I kept loving, even when I knew what it cost me. I used to love spring. I know that sounds like a small thing, but it's not. Spring was my favorite season. Renewal, life. My son was born in the spring. That particular smell of things kind of thawing out and waking up, I loved it. But since 2024, it's become something else entirely for me. You know, it's the anniversary of losses now. The month that something bad happens. I think my body's kind of started to brace for it before my brain does, which is a thing that happens. You know, the nervous system learns patterns faster than we do. And my nervous system has learned that spring means loss now. And I don't know how to unlearn that. I don't know if I will. I hope someday spring is mine again. I really do. A moment I didn't expect yesterday before Trixie died, I needed to fill the silence while she slept beside me, and I put Sirius on. It defaulted to a worship channel. I don't know why. I didn't set it up that way, and I got distracted, and I never changed it, and then the chaos started, and we left. And then we came home, and I sat down in her favorite chair. It was the support chair, the food chair, where she would sit and wait so patiently, watching me like I was the only person in the world. And a song came on from the living room. It was How Great Thou Art. And that was my dad's song, his churchy song, the one he loved the most. I'm not going to tell you what to believe. I'm not even entirely sure what I believe anymore. But I will tell you, in that moment, it didn't feel like coincidence. It felt like my dad saying, I've got her. Or I'm with you, or both. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Maybe it's just my brain doing what it does, you know, finding patterns and making meaning. I always like to look at signs, refusing to accept that the people and animals we love just stop. Or maybe, you know, some things are bigger than what we can explain, and we're better off just receiving them instead of dissecting them. So I received it. And I did this morning too. I went right outside and started water sealing some stuff on my patio, and there were cardinals singing. And I looked up and they were all around me, and blue jays and red-winged blackbirds and cardinals remind me of people who are gone, and blue jays remind me of my dad, and redwings, if you were following me last year, you know exactly why. Those remind me of Hazel. So yeah, I think that those are signs. Trixie can see again now. You know, she's been pretty blind for 15 years, and wherever she is, she can see. She can see color. She's not in pain. She's not on medication. She's not having to work so hard just to navigate a world that wasn't designed for a cat like her. She was a calico, you know, all those colors, orange and black and white and cream all jumbled up together, impossible and improbable and completely her. I now have a gray cat and a black cat. And that's not nothing. I love them, but I won't pretend I don't feel the absence of color today. That's how I feel right now, gray and black. The color got taken out of the room. But she has it now. She took it with her. I don't have a tidy ending for this, you know, that's not what this episode is. What I have is, I don't know, grief. Grief is not a problem to be solved. It's not something to get over or push through or reframe your way out of. It's the natural consequence of having loved something real. And if you're in the middle of it, for a pet, for a person, for a season of losses that just keeps going, I want you to know, because I know, the exhaustion is valid, the complicated feelings are valid, the anger is valid, the moments of irrational guilt and self-blame over every damn choice you made are valid. You don't have to be okay. You don't. You're allowed to let the music play and take the moment when it comes and decide that your dad sent it, okay? And not let anyone talk you out of that. Believe it. Trixie came into this world marked for death, and she refused it for 15 years. She was blind and she was deaf and dizzy and eventually very sick. And she wore a ducky backpack and she smelled flowers and she mothered every scared cat who ever came through our door. And she was loved completely. She knew it. I believe that. That has to be enough. For now, anyway. I think that's it. Thanks for being here with me.
Sweetheart. There you go. You'll feel better soon. Yeah, you're a lot more comfortable now, honey. There you go. There you are. Go, sweetie. Should feel pretty sleepy. That's good. Okay, sweetheart. Is it okay if I go ahead? Yeah. You ready? Okay. That's alright, Trixie. Okay, sweetie. You can rest now, honey. I'm just gonna flush that for you. And then you have to listen to her, right? And her face is so cute right now. My teeth. She's passed. Good. Yeah.
You've been listening to Unbound Off Script. We know these aren't always easy places to go, and we appreciate you being here with Beth Curry as she stumbles through the things that matter most. If you have something on your heart that you'd like her to speak to, we're here. Contact info is in the show notes. Until next time, be good to yourself and others.